Good to see you. Good afternoon. I'm afraid I cannot speak the language that I hear all around here. And I was wondering how many people can speak English? Oh, that's going to be just fine. Because my Russian or Ukrainian, I don't actually know which, is not very good. I know two words now. One is na zdrowie, and the other one I learned in the bus, strav. So I got a fine. But today I want to talk to you about Internet of Coins. And what we've been building for the last 2 years is a network to connect all kinds of different cryptocurrencies together. So first we had Bitcoin, which is very interesting. You can already have a decentralized mechanism of banking with each other. But beyond that, there are other cryptocurrencies, a lot of them, like Litecoin, Dogecoin, Zcash, and many more. And so our thought was, there's my co-founder Robert, but our thought was, how can we connect them all together? And that's what we've been doing for the past 2 years. And now we are ready to launch a crowdfund to get the platform up to higher scale and make a graphical user interface that everybody can use. We translated the website, as you saw, into the Russian language. I don't know if it's a good translation, so if it's really bad, then just come and tell us and say, hey, it's your site, it looks like shit in Russian. So then we know it, right? But we tried our best to make it understandable for a lot of people, and we're looking to include more languages. So I will talk to you about what Internet of Coins is. But first, where do I come from? I'm from the Netherlands. My name is Joachim, and I've been working on several other projects before Internet of Coins. One of them is RetroShare, a decentralized network where you can communicate without using any central servers. It's a friend-to-friend network, which looks a bit like peer-to-peer, but it's a bit different. Very nice project. So I encourage you to check it out. Also, I've been working on something called the Net Aid Kit. It's a very small box, and it's used by journalists in dangerous areas, so that they can just plug the box into their laptop, and from that point on, they have a cryptographic connection that cannot be monitored by the secret services. At least that's what we hope. So I think it's working pretty well. We have heard no complaints from the journalists. And I've been doing that together with an organization called Radically Open Security, a very nice organization in Amsterdam. They have a very open approach to security. With Robert together, we also have a company that does blockchain things. It's called MetaSync, and we've been working since 2012 on all kinds of blockchain-related projects. But the Internet of Coins is something different from that. It's a not-for-profit, and it's meant to create a platform that is open for everybody and not only closed to certain types of development or certain types of business. So just like Bitcoin itself, it's supposed to be completely open. So first I will talk about my favorite asset, which is chocolate. It's not a financial asset, but it's an interesting one. It's a consumable, you can eat it. It's a standard. At least I hope that the chocolate here tastes just as good as chocolate in China, as chocolate in the United States or in the Netherlands. Because that's what we try to do with chocolate. We try to make a standard out of it. It's something personal. Some people like dark chocolate, some people like white chocolate, some people like milk chocolate. Personally, I'm dark, and I believe that milk chocolate, like the white one, is not really chocolate, but that's my personal opinion. And then we have also that chocolate can be a symbol for some people. For instance, a symbol of freedom. Why? Because if you live in a place on the earth where you cannot get chocolate, it means that you're probably in a place that's below the poverty line. And so it means usually that you have less freedom in your life. It can also be a symbol that you turn around, so from freedom to slavery. Some people have to work in chocolate plantations and don't get paid the right amount, and then this symbol turns around. It can also be a freedom in the case of fair trade, where people get a chance. So that's what chocolate tells me. And then I'm going to go to finance, and you think, well, what's the connection of chocolate and finance? And it's not too far-fetched. But first I went to a website where I looked at what people think about when they think about finance. And there's a word cloud here, and one of the first words that jumps out is most people think about bank. I don't, but a lot of people do. And then secondly, they think about money. So very interesting, when you talk about finance, many people say, yeah, bank, and they don't say okay, what's in my wallet? So the banks have been doing some very good PR lately in the past, I think, 20 years. But finance itself has also got some interesting properties and attributes. So it's a symbol, and it uses symbols even. If you think about USD, GBP, EUR for euro. I don't know what kind of symbol they use here. For the... Okay. So, but also if you have enough financial means, you have usually some more freedom. I also think of the word blockchain when I think of finance. So for me, it wouldn't say bank there, but blockchain. And finance, we try to create a standard all over the world so that if you pay in some place and you come from abroad, it's not too difficult to pay. And it's also something personal. I don't know about here, but in the Netherlands, if you ask, hey, what do you have on your bank account? People will be like, well, I don't think I'll tell you that, you know? So I don't have so much on my bank account, you can know that. I like blockchain better, so, you know, my bank account's useless. But many people don't want to share that information, so it's also something personal. Well, if you look at the current state of blockchain technology, my opinion is that it looks a bit like this. This is a computer from the late 70s, early 80s. And it was in those days, if you wanted to use a computer, you'd have to go to some place that had a machine like that. It would not be very easy because in some places in the world you could visit, but you'd have to write your name and you'd have to schedule so that you can, you know, use the computer at a certain time because a lot of people like to use it. But it was not available to everybody. And that changed a little time later, where we got something called the personal computer. Now, this one is one designed by Steve Wozniak, who was a partner of Steve Jobs. But I could have also put a picture there of the IBM PC running DOS. Why do I think this is a very interesting development in the computer in those days? It's because the computer became something industrial, from something institutional, it became something personal. And I think that blockchain at the moment is going to undergo the same transformation. At the moment, there's a lot of companies working with blockchain. There's also banks testing stuff on blockchain. And yes, if you are a bit technical, you can use Bitcoin yourself. It's not too difficult. But when I ask my grandmother, hey, you know, are you using cryptocurrency? She says, what are you talking about? Because it's not personal enough yet. It's not close enough to the person. So that means it's still far away from people that are not techie or geek or somehow interested in finance and doing a lot of work to get to know what blockchain is and how to work with it. So with the Internet of Coins project, we are from the start asking ourselves one question that we think is very important. How is blockchain technology going to change our personal lives? Not how is it going to change the bank or how is it going to change your company, but how is it going to change our personal lives? Because that answers the question of if everybody is going to use it or not. If nobody's going to use blockchain in the future personally, then businesses can do a lot of work, but it will be useless in the end. So we need the people to be on board. So we thought, okay, then you have to put in at least the 3 common bounds that are the properties of something that everybody is going to use. And that is, it should be simple to use, it should of course be cross-platform, compatible, and it should be secure and safe. A no-brainer, of course. So we thought, okay, let's take an example, for instance. Let's say I want to tell my grandmother, which I heard a word was babushka, right? Okay, so how do we tell the babushka to use Namecoin, for instance? Namecoin is an interesting cryptocurrency. It looks a bit like Bitcoin, but it's a bit different. You can use it to actually create a kind of website domain names on it, .bit. And those domain names, as long as you have the blockchain, are visitable from anywhere. So, for example, if you see that certain countries say, hey, but that domain name you cannot visit, well, in Namecoin that's not possible. It gives freedom for everybody on the domain name level. So, of course, Babushka wants to use Namecoin. That's nice, you know. But how is she going to do it? It's a bit too difficult for her right now. What we want to do with Internet of Coins is make it possible that when she just logs into our decentralized network, that it's going to be very easy. So not just for you and me, but also for babushkas. But maybe a bit closer to home. Huh? Let's say in the 60s, she bought some stocks of Nuka-Cola, you know, because they are going to become worth much more than Coca-Cola. This is from the game Fallout, if anybody who knows that game. Okay, so grandmother has bought a lot of those stocks. But now she would like to use eco products because Nuka-Cola, you know, is kind of, well, they've made a lot of profit, but their production methods, she cannot, you know, sleep at night. I've got those stocks, but I don't feel good about it. Ethically wrong. So she wants to convert those to eco products. Right now, she has to sell them for instance, dollars or something else that, you know, that those stocks are denominated in. And then she has to take those dollars to another broker, and she has to buy the eco products on the smaller stock market, which is kind of a big hassle. It would be much easier if grandmother could just say, I want to convert those Nuka-Cola stocks into eco products in one click. It would be much easier for her instead of having to go through all this hassle. And I believe that blockchain technology, when it becomes personal, can make this possible, so that the stocks are also put on blockchains and made easy to use for anybody, but also easy to switch, easy to sell, or easy to convert. So how are we approaching this with our project? We're trying to create something called a TOS, a transactional operating system. Just like in the beginning, there was computers and everybody was using their own system, but then eventually you got something that was more common called DOS, DOS. We want to create something called a TOS, which is a transactional operating system. And we've been working for that, on that for 2 years. It contains consensus system, a node which has a processor, a scheduler, and a multiplexer in it. And it can hook in modules that can make it possible to use it in all kinds of different financial situations. On the front-end level, we're focusing on 3 things, the ones I just named. Interoperability, which is the cross-platform aspect, a good user experience to make it easy for everybody, and a high level of security, because we are talking about value transfer. And we call that the Decentralized Financial Web. The concept is that it will be just as easy to use a cryptocurrency or to start a new one as to use or create a website. Because why not? There are a lot of ideas in cryptocurrency that might not live for a long time, but there are also ones that might just be that special idea that should need a chance, that needs a space to grow. And that space we want to create with the Decentralized Financial Web. So we're going to do the following in the beginning. Right now, the platform is going to be created in such a way that it can run something called a hybrid asset. And a hybrid asset is something that is a portfolio across multiple blockchains. And it means that when you have a hybrid asset and one of the blockchains goes down, the asset won't be directly affected. It will still continue to run. So what we're going to do is hook in several systems. In the beginning, we had 2 systems that we tested on, Counterparty and NXT. And the hybrid asset worked on that. And now we're going to expand to BitShares, the new economy movement Waves, which was recently popped up. And we're going to include Bitcoin, in this case the Omni protocol and the Ethereum protocol. And so this hybrid asset will run on all these blockchains simultaneously at the same time. It should be possible for a hybrid asset to easily travel between these blockchains and not be stuck on a single one. We're going to do that by making an asset swap system that people can use, and that will be very easy. Well, this is what Internet of Coins is, and I will keep it a bit short because there are more presentations today. But I'm also wondering if you have questions, and yeah, let me know what you think about this. Thank you.